What factors determine if a specific data set meets the quality control standards for weather forecasting?
We have several, how can I put it, processes that the data must pass. One is what we call calibration. I happen to have been the co-chairman of the calibration committee. And that is when the data comes in, we have to make sure that it meets certain specs. We set limits on the ranges of the data. It has to have a certain brightness, temperature, I don't want to get too technical, and it has to fall within a range of specs that we've set. So we have an upper limit and a lower limit. If the data falls outside of that spec, then we flag it as data that does not meet specs, but yet it can be used. So we let the users know. And we do that with each orbit of data as it's processed into the system. We also have to have it correctly navigated, because you don't want the satellite picking up information over Chicago, but flying over Chicago, picking up the geographic area of Chicago, but using data coming out of Miami. So you have to navigate it properly, and we have certain navigation tools that we use. So calibration and navigation would be the most important factors that we use. And then there are other, what we call ephemeris things that are non-scientific things, like, is the spacecraft in orbit? Is it looking correctly? Is it rolling? Is it dipping? How is the orbit health? And those type of things. And of course, we do an in-house test. We have a parallel system that runs along with the data that we're going to send out. So we have, as you'll see later, when you go upstairs to the 4th floor in our operations room, we have a whole floor of computer operators. And all they do is 24 by 7. 24 by 7. They sit there, they're shift workers. They sit there and they monitoring screens. Okay, and these screens have algorithms and programs built into them to monitor the data. So some of them will get a red light, a flash, or they'll look at a particular monitor to make sure the data is on time, that there's no delay. And there are a whole bunch of intricacies that they would use to monitor. And they write tickets, call up. Sometimes people get calls in the middle of the night if something breaks. And every morning at 9:30, we have a status meeting. And that status meeting, which I coordinate, writes up tickets of events that have occurred the last 24 hours. And we call those anomalies. And those tickets are assigned to us, and we discuss them. And we discuss them to evaluate the criticalness of the situation. Okay? And I'm trying to pull that up for you right just to give you an idea. And that I'm the system administrator for these tickets. I'll just give you an idea. Okay, here's a list of the tickets that we come up. So in the last 24 hours, we assigned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tickets. 1, 2, 3, 4 tickets are being worked on, and we completed, I've already counted this, 18 problems. So here you can see that the description of the problem is documented. The operator that reported is documented. The person that it has been assigned to for correction is also documented. Okay? And that's just the first stage of the ticket, assigning it to the correct person to get the job done, because we have many different areas, okay? And then we go to the next stage, which is in work. And this tells us this ticket is being worked on. A typical ticket that says, this person said, I no longer need to log in to SatOps I have transitioned our data archive scripts to using new servers, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to, that might sound foreign to you, okay? However, he has a root cause and a resolution. What did they do to resolve this so we can say that this data is okay? And this guy says, I disabled the account on these 3 servers and checking with application support before removing the data to the next service. Then it goes to a completed state. And it's just a summary of all the activities. And once it's completed, they send it to me. And we look at it in the morning, and it's about 20 of us get together, and we look at it and we vet it to say, okay, we accept that, that's good, let's close it out, and we continue on with the business. So that's just kind of a, but you'll see this more clearly when you go up on the 4th floor and you see the operators, they're looking and going, and they're constantly going. So it's not like that all the time. Sometimes things slow down and actually work without a problem. So that's good too, okay?